Hey guys, what's going on? I got more stuff with Bori today. This time it's bartitsu. This is gonna be some stuff that I was looking at a while ago, but then I came back today because I was reminded about it, and I just wanted to cover all the options with this concept that I was told about. I don't know who came up with it originally, but I just took it and ran with it to like cover all the options that you have with this concept. Basically what it involves the same sort of stuff that we were doing in the last few videos with Dragon's Breath, where we would use the EX fart for a corner reset, and you have like lots of options to mix your opponent with that. Same thing here. You have more options to mix your opponent, but it is more unsafe in a lot of those cases, and we'll get on to what I mean about that later. But basically what's different about this compared to the Dragon Breath resets is because the command grabs, that Bo has in his bartitsu variation, they don't swap sides like they do in the other two variations, so you can't throw your opponent into the fart cloud because he will just stay on the same side, which is good because you keep your corner positioning but you don't get that reset. So we need a substitute, and I have a couple of ways that we can work around that little problem. One of them being the concept that I was told about, which is using the locane to pull the people into the fart. So here we go. Oh, did I not confirm it? I didn't. There we go. So basically the way this works is we go for our reset, and then we confirm whatever mix-up string we want into locane, and then we get our reset that way instead of using the command grab, which is, it's still a great option just because of the fact that bartitsu has all of these mix options that he can use. My mind just drawing a blank right now. Oh yeah, I was going to draw attention to this as well. You'll notice that I'm using, you're about to see here, after this jump and punch connects, I go for a down 4 as well. The reason for that is because down 4 and hit and bartitsu is plus 23 compared to Dragon Breath and Drunken Master, where it's only plus 19. So you're still guaranteed all of your mix options after that. 100%. They can't be armored through after that down 4 hits. They can't be jumped out of, nothing. You're going to get hit or you're going to block. Those are your two options at that point. Obviously they can armor the gaps in the string or gaps into special, but that's all unlikely. Honestly, I very rarely see people do that, especially in this meta of the game that we're in now, where there are no armored launches. So so I'd use that down 4 to, we still guarantee our mix up that way, and we get a little bit of extra damage, so that's nice. And then basically we go straight into our string because we're guaranteed our mix off those plus frames, and then we go into the locane, and hopefully our opponent gets mixed and they get pulled into the fart. So they get pulled up here. When you get knocked down like that, you're going to want to jump, you're going to want to hold up and forward, otherwise you're not going to be able to get in the air soon enough to combo this right here. And then I launch with 3-4-1, and then I repeat 2-1 3 times, standing free into the flying kick for 47% damage, plus, the like 29, I think it was, for the previous combo for that, so it's 76% for a bar off of that reset. And that's like not the max damage, but that's the max damage you can get for that one bar. Because other strings require a launching special, which has to be meter burned when you're playing bartitsu, because he doesn't have a meterless launching special. But anyway, we'll get onto that aspect of it later. So basically, you have all your different options to mix with Bo once you hit that down 4. Back 1-4, which has overhead low in it. It's a great string for mixing. You can go for his overhead into the locane, or you can go for his double overhead, and then just get a combo that way. You know, you have all these different options to mix your opponent with that. With the 3-4-1 in that combo after the excuse me, hang on. So right here, after with this, you can hit the jump in and 3-4-1. You can, that's purely personal preference. You can do 4-1 free up 4 if you want, and then 2-1 3 times free flying kick. It's the same damage, or you can do 2-1 4 times. You know, substitute the 3-4-1 or the 4-1 free up 4 with 2-1, and then have the same free 2-1s after that if you want. It's all the same damage. It's just personal preference what you want to do for execution wise. So that's why I do 3-4-1, because it's, you know, the easiest for me, and that's what I prefer. So yeah, you can get, also I should mention, you can get a little bit less damage, but you get a restand if you end after the stand increase. You end in Bo's down forward 1 in bartitsu, which is a +9 restand, which you can use to you know, continue your pressure and your mix on your opponent. You're not guaranteed anything except for a down 1, so if your opponent is disrespecting those plus frames, just hit them with a down 1 and then go for your mix up after that. And then once they start respecting it, you can just go straight for your mix, you know, whatever you want, go for a throw, anything. Or you can end it earlier before that, and on the third 2-1, or the fourth one, depending on which your launching option string you use. But I'm just going to say the third one, because you're always going to do at least 3. On the third one, instead of doing 2-1 and then 3 into the, you know, whatever your ender is, you can just do 2 and then cancel that into flips, the monkey flips overhead, which will guarantee you your stomp. And then you can, a meter burn stomp I should say, and then you can go for a mix after that, or a chip setup even. So that's nice. So next option after that, oh, also if you do confirm into, well, not confirm, but if you do go for this Locane, you are the safety of Bo after he is hit by, after the Locane is blocked. If your opponent manages to block, basically is what I'm saying. It's a little bit hit or miss. You see right there, I got hit by the fart cloud for trying to punish him with a forward 1-3 with Cyrex. But you'll see here in a sec, I can punish it cleanly with 1-1-1 into the net. Obviously it's going to be different for each character. I think the other Borgs might be different. I think the only reason Cyrex can do that is because the animation on the net like makes him move backwards so he doesn't get caught in the cloud. I think you know, Sector and Smoke throwing the smoke bomb and doing their teleport would probably get hit by it, and I think Cybersub might be safe to do Ice Ball after it though. But you know, the way the game has worked out, you're probably only going to have to really worry about Smoke and Sector as far as Strikewalks go, and I'm pretty sure they would both get hit by the cloud if they tried to confirm into their specials. So our next option we're going to get onto right now is using just a regular throw. So we'll get onto that now. Because we don't have the side swapping throws like we do in the other two variations, one of the substitutes for that is just, you know, using a regular throw. Now, the downside to that is that, you know, of course your opponent can tech it. It's not like a command grab where, you know, they have options out to duck it. If your opponent sees the grab and, you know, reacts in time, they can tech it. But of course, you'll be safe, of course, because you can't be punished for a teched throw. But you'll be safe from them, you know, trying to hit you afterwards because, you know, the fire cloud is still there. So you go for your mix. You can throw them in. You can go. It may be that, you know, your opponent starts seeing this coming because you are delaying so much after the, or not so much, but you are delaying by a little bit, like, you know, a second or so after the down 4 hits, because you want them to be out of the hit stun so the grab actually connects. and if they see that, then you might be, you know, they might make a read and then neutral duck it and then punish you for it. So what you can also do is, because you have those plus frames off the plus 23, you can delay it, and then if your opponent starts, you know, if your opponent starts neutral ducking those throws, what you can do is delay, and then they'll be like, oh, he's going to throw me, so they'll duck, and then you can just go for, you know, whatever string you want, one of his faster strings that starts up, you know, and like, if you go for a standing 1, you know, 1 2 1 2, which will go into you know, into low cane, or you can do back 1 4, so head low into low cane, because they're sitting there neutral ducking, waiting for you to whiff the throw so that they can, you know, uppercut you or whatever to punish you. So you can afford to take that second to delay, and then if you see them, if they start neutral ducking it, then you can just go into a string, because you've got those plus frames anyway. So, you know, you can wait, you know, a little bit of time before going into a string if you think that they're going to start neutral ducking your throw. Of course, they can just let you grab them, and then they can just tech it, but, you know, if they start doing that, then, you know, maybe you want to go for just, you know, go straight into a string anyway, and then when they start letting go of block, to be like, oh, he's gonna throw me, then you just hit them anyway. So it's really just, you know, whatever your opponent is reacting to, just change it up, mix it up, you know. So there was another, there was just a couple more options I want to talk about. You can also do, obviously, when you do a jump in, let's go, hang on. You can also obviously do, after this, you can go, because you're guaranteed your overhead or your low, so you can just go straight in for a grab like that, which is good damage, you know, 21% if it hits. Yep, 21% if it hits. If they block the initial mix, the overhead or low, but get caught by the grab, ooh, I believe it's about 17%. Let's just check. So it blocks the overhead. Yeah, 17%. So you still get really, ooh, I didn't mean to press that button. You still get really solid damage from that, so you can go for that mix. You can also just go straight for the overhead flips if you don't want to go for low cane. Still mixing your opponent. You're still guaranteed stomp afterwards, so, you know, there's always that. You will waste the bar on the EX card if you do that, but, you know, and you're guaranteed whatever mix-up you want. Well, not whatever mix-up, but you're guaranteed a lot of your mix-ups after that, and you're guaranteed, you know, chip pressure if they're close to death, whatever it is. So, you know, it's just all about all these different options that you have, really, as, you know, bow in the corner. The main thing that I want you to take away from this is that after this hit, your opponent has to hold anything that you do. You know, there's no armoring out, there's no jumping out. Their only options are to block or get hit, and even if they do block, they might get hit anyway, because, you know, he's got overheads and lows out his butt, you know. So one more thing that I wanted to cover is that if you do a regular string that doesn't launch, so you don't do the forward 4-3, or is back 3-2-2, his universal overhead low launching starters, you will have to do you'll have to confirm it into an EX special to launch, whether it's the low cane meter burn, hang on, or if it's the EX down back 2. So if I do a corner combo like this, usually people would do 1-2 fart, and that would be standard for a bartitsu corner combo. The problem with that is that just because of the juggle properties, whatever, when you do the backdash into the meter burn fart, bow doesn't end up at the correct spacing that you want for the fart. He ends up a little bit too close, and sometimes, depending on, you know, your opponent's breathing hitbox, on their, you know, what happens to their hitbox once they get hit by that jump-in punch afterwards, by that jump-in punch there, they could get hit by that EX fire as well. So you want to do this into, you know, your EX special to launch, and then wait for them to, screwed it up there, wait for them to, you know, fall to the same height that you would usually when you do 2-1, and then you'll be at the correct spacing for that. So you want to do the same as your Dragon Breath sort of quarter combos where you wait for them to fall to be like perfectly in line with that standing 2, and then you juggle them with 2-1 free fart, and then you go from there, and that will guarantee that you have the correct spacing for the fart for all your mix-up options. So yeah, that's really it.